Okay, in this section, we're going to learn about a conditional statement. This is a little arrow here, sorry. Their symbol didn't work, so I had to draw it in. It should look like this. If P, then Q. That's what it stands for, if then, okay? Now, this is a little bit different. We've got an antecedent and a consequent. Order matters. With and or, order doesn't matter. But if P, then Q, it does matter. And here's why. We've got our P set up, our Q set up. If I start with something true and I prove that it's true, then that would be considered true. If I start with something true and I prove that it's false, that would be considered false. Now, if I start with something that's false, okay, I'm saying it's false and I prove that it's true, the answer is actually true. Anytime you start with a false, okay, it's not like somebody's lying to you. They told you it was false. So it doesn't matter whether they prove it true or false. If you start with a false, they're not lying to you, okay? Anytime you start with a false, you go with the true. So this is just how it works. Two truths is a true. If you start with a true, you prove it false, it's a false. Anytime you start with a false, the answer doesn't matter. Those are going to be true because you said it was false in the beginning. Okay? It's a little bit weird. You just have to remember it. Okay, so we want to construct a truth table for not if not Q, then not P. If not Q, then not P. So I need a P, I need a Q, I need a not P. They put these in a different order than I would have, but I need the not P column and I need the not Q column. Okay, now remember, order matters. I have to start with this column and then go to this column. Okay, I have to start here and go to that. That's why they put them in that order. So if I start with a false, it's automatically true. If I start with a true and I prove it false, then it's false. If I start with a false, we automatically put you told the truth. Okay, if I start with a true and I prove it's true, then it's true. So my final answer would be true, false, true, true. Let's try another one. This one's quite long. We're going to have P or Q. It's if P or Q and not P, then Q. Okay, so quite a bit. We need a P, we need a Q. We're going to need a not P. So we're going to need all three of these columns. Remember, everything in a parenthesis has its own column. So this is going to need its own column. And then this whole thing here is going to need its own column, and then we have the final answer over there. Okay, so let's start with the P or Q. Is one or the other true? And we end up with true, 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 false. We did that one in another section. Now we're going to do this blue. Okay, so we're going to take this answer, this column, and we're going to do an and. So we're doing this column right here, and the not P column, and it's and. The only way to get true when it's and is if they're both true. So we're going to get false, false, true, false. Now, get a different color. Now I'm going to take this column and do if this column, then Q. Okay, so I'm starting here. This is really important. Order matters. And I'm going to here. Okay? So I start with this column and I go to that one. I start with a false, it's going to be true, okay? If I start and I say it's false, then I'm telling the truth. If I start with a truth and I prove that it's true, it is also going to be true. And here, if I said it was a lie to begin with, I start with a false, then I'm telling the truth, okay? It doesn't matter what I proved it. If you start with a false, when it's if then, it's always going to be true. This, by the way, is a tautology. I think I'm spelling this correctly, because all of those are true. This is just some vocabulary. Negation means not. Conjunction, that's the and. Disjunction is the or. Conditional is called the if-then statement. Biconditional we won't cover in this class, but it means if and only if.